You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
Welcome to the Hot Options Report, your premier source for insight into the fast-moving options market. Each day, we'll track down the products that are dominating the options chains and impacting your trading account, from Nvidia to VIX and everything in between. If it's lighting up the options tape, then you'll find it on the Hot Options Report.
All right, everybody, that music means we are back once again. It is time to wrap up your trading day with a little bit of the Hot Options Report for Tuesday, November 11th. My name, of course, Mark Longo from theoptionsinsider.com. Reminding you at the top of the show, make sure you subscribe to the full network wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And, of course, if you're ready to go pro, awesome, can I just say awesome pro Q&A session today with our good buddy, the original market wizard himself, Mr. Tony Saliba. We went deep on all sorts of wild stuff. The only place you can check it out, theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go to learn more. And, of course, while you're learning about things online, make sure you're checking out the data that goes along with this show. TheHotOptionsReport.com is the place to go to learn more. Great free data. You can't beat it. TheHotOptionsReport.com is the place to go as we get down to business today. A mixed day out there in the markets. Kind of struggling to find direction for most of the session. Our old pal VIX ended up closing off about a third of a point today, right around 17 and a quarter is where the cash went out. Putting up some volume, though, today. 960,000 contracts, almost to the ADV, which is 978 out there. And the hot option in VIX land today, 190,000 of the D's 35. So back to the upside we go. If you're wondering, what does the D's 35 call go for in VIX? 62 cents was the average price today. Up to you if you think that's worth it or not as we keep on rolling out to SPY. SPY ended up closing up slightly on the day, nearly 0.25% in SPY land, putting up about 8.25 million contracts. That's against an ADV of just a tick below 10 million. So kind of light on the volume front and the hot option, such as it was out there in SPY today. 507,000 of these 683 calls. Average price for these, 38 cents. SPY going out exactly at 683. So kind of a wild close for those as we keep on rolling to the SPX listeners. The S closing today up 0.21% on the day, putting up 4.02 million contracts against an ADV of about 4.4 million. So slightly light on the volume front for the SPX today as well. The hot option in the SPX today, 174,000 of these 68 half calls. Average price for these, $3.05. So interesting strike selection there as we keep on rolling out to small caps, listeners. Small caps have been a wild volume and volatility story of late. Did they repeat defeat today? The answer was no. Small caps closing up 0.1% or pretty close to it, putting up 1.03 million contracts. That's against an ADV of about 1.9 million. So coming in kind of light on the movement and the volume front out there. The hot option, 107,000 of the 244 calls. Again, going back to the upside, average price for these, 38 cents. And IWM going out 244 and a quarter pretty much. So interesting strike selection there as well as we keep on going out to the Qs, listeners. The Qs bucking the trend, closing down on the day, listeners. The Qs ended up going out off a little over 0.25%, closing 621.57, putting up 4.71 million contracts against an ADV of about 5.3 million. So kind of light on the volume front as well. The hot option in the Qs today, 339,000 of the 622 calls. Average price for these, 50 cents. All right, out to the single names we go. Was it a hot day in single name options land? The answer once again was no. 421,000 contracts is all it cost you to break into the top 10. That gets us to our old pal SMCI, closing today 38.82, off about $1.37, or almost 3.5%. The hot option out there today, 59,000 of the 52 calls expiring in regular November expiration. So these are regular November 52 calls. So you might say that's a wild strike. Average price for these about a dime. This is opening paper, by the way. So interesting stuff out there. 52s for a dime. You like those? You got a little bit of time, but that strike certainly seems perhaps distant on the options chain out there. Perhaps some vertical action or something else going on out there in SMCI. As we keep on rolling to number 9, our buddy Mr. Overby on the network here. His recent favorite. This is Rivian, roaring back to life today, closing $18.02, up $1.61, or nearly 10%. So nice little pop for Rivian on the heels of some decent earnings recently as well, putting up nearly 500,000 contracts, 496,000 contracts. For the number 9 spot, the hot option out there, 36,000 of the 17 calls expiring on Friday. Average price for these, 57 cents. These are clearly looking good. They went out worth over $1 at the end of the day. So obviously a decent trade if you bought those. As we keep on rolling to another frequent offender recently, this is Pfizer. Closing today, $25.51, up $1.12, or about 4.6%, putting up 511,000 contracts. For the number 8 spot, the hot option out there, 37,000 of the 25 calls, again expiring on regular November expiration. Average price for these, about 47 cents. So a little bit of longer term upside in Pfizer, even though these are now in the money calls. Worth noting, there is some OI on this strike, so it is potentially somebody taking these off. As we keep on rolling, keeping it in P names, let's go out to our old pal Palantir, coming in at number 7 today, closing 190.96, off 265, or about 1 1/3%, putting up 512,000 contracts. For the number 7 spot today, the hot option in Palantir, 30,000 of the 190 calls expiring on Friday. Average price for these, $4.14. Obviously, Palantir was whipping around all day today. Up to you whether you think $4.14 is a good trade. These are still in the money calls as we keep on rolling to number 6, another one of our old friends. It's Open. Closing today, $8.48, so roaring back to life, gaining over half a buck, 51 cents to be precise, about 6.4%, putting up 556,000 contracts. For the number 6 spot today, listeners, and the hot option out there and Open today, 45,000 of the 8 calls expiring on Friday. Average price for these, 55 cents. Obviously, they bought these earlier in the morning, if they did indeed buy these, and they're looking pretty good right now. If they sold them, they're gritting their teeth a little bit as we keep on rolling to number 5. It's our old pal AMD. Closing today, $237.52, off $6.50, or 2 2/3%, putting up 651,000 contracts. For the number 5 spot, the hot option out there today, 53,000 of the 2.5 calls. Average price for these, $3.27. That is opening paper. Can AMD get back to 250 by the end of this week? Not by November expiration, by the end of this week. We shall see. As we keep on rolling out to number 4, there was a lot of interesting earnings popping off this week, including our old pal CRWV. CRWV getting annihilated today, selling off 17.25, or 16.3%, closing $88.39. So wild stuff in CRWV. I'm going to guess it was probably some puts, but we shall find out. CRWV putting up 722,000 contracts today. The hot option out there, almost 23,000 of the 90 puts expiring on Friday. Average price for these, $2.83. The low was right around $88, so we closed pretty much right at the low. So these puts could be looking interesting as the week continues. As we keep on rolling to number 3, a name that has a hard time selling off most days, listeners. It's Apple, rallying nearly $6 today, $5.82, closing $275.25, up a little over 2, about 2.16%. Apple's just been in the green nonstop of late. Number 3 today, 899,000 contracts on the tape. The hot option out there, 98,000 of the 275 calls, so pretty much at the money calls now. Average price for these, nearly $2, about $1.93. That is opening paper. Can we hang out up here and keep rallying throughout the rest of the week? If you bought those, you certainly hope so. As we keep on rolling to number 2, listeners, it's Tesla. Kind of a light volume day for Tesla today. Only 1.19 million contracts out there in Tesla. Coming back to earth a little bit, closing 439.62 off $5.61, or about 1.25%. The hot option out there today, 63,000 of the 440s, pretty much at the money calls. Average price for these, $7.44. So they're not giving these away, listeners. If you're buying these, you hope Tesla gets a nice aggressive upswing to end the week. As we keep on rolling to the number 1 spot on our single name most actives today, it was Nvidia. 2.54 million contracts changing hands in Nvidia today. Nvidia closing 193.16 off nearly $6, about $5.90, or nearly 3%. So giving back some to the market gods today. The hot option out there today, 196,000 of the 195 calls, now out of the money calls. Average price for these, $2.62. Can Nvidia turn it around by the end of the week? If you bought these, you certainly hope so. We'll keep an eye on these as we come back tomorrow for our usual array of content, including options, boot camps, and the futures rundown, before we wrap up the day with another episode of the Hot Options Report. See you then, and oh yeah, stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.